week 8 of the fantasy football season. Here's a few defenses I have as sleepers this week. The first, DST, the San Francisco 49ers. So I know the Niners lost Bosa and Warner for the season as the year's gone on. Right now, they're out there in 82% of fantasy leagues. In the last few weeks, they haven't done much, but this week a good matchup at Houston. Their offense has been struggling. Nico Collins not looking good that he's going to play in this ball game in concussion protocol. And I think San Francisco is a 1-week streaming option, could go out there, make some plays. Week 5 at the Rams, 23 points allowed, a sack, 2 fumble recoveries, a block kick. Week 6 at Tampa Bay, 30 points allowed, a sack. Week 7 versus Atlanta, 10 points allowed, 2 sacks, 2 fumble recoveries. So like I said, this week with a decent matchup, a banged up and a bad offense overall for the most part for Houston, I think San Francisco could go out there into Houston and have a decent performance. Sleepers, the New York Jets. So this New York Jet defense, believe it or not, the last few weeks they're holding opponents down. Denver and Carolina didn't do much to this Jet defense. I know Cincinnati the last couple weeks, they're getting their offense sorted out and putting up big numbers with Joe Flacco in their quarterback, but they do give up the 5th most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. Like I said, the Jets, they versed some decent offenses and held them down the last couple weeks. So the last few weeks for the Jets, week 5 versus Dallas, they got the doors blown off, 37 points allowed, a sack. Week 6 versus Denver, 13 points allowed, a sack, a fumble recovery, a safety. And week 7 versus the Panthers, 13 points allowed, 2 sacks. So this defense, the last 2 weeks have played better. Joe Flacco, I know, is playing good, but he is an older quarterback as well, that if you get a hand on him, he's going to go down. So this week, well, it's a good matchup on paper, even though this Jet team, 0-7 and the worst team in the league. They're available in 88% of fantasy leagues, and we'll see if this could be a game once again where the Jets hold their opponents to the mid-teens. In this one, in the final, DST staying in the same game is the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Bengals, one of the worst defenses in the league. They've done nothing all season long, but they're versing the New York Jet offense that hasn't scored a touchdown in 2 weeks. So Cincinnati out there right now in 75% of fantasy leagues. Jets give up the 3rd most fantasy points to DSTs on the season. So if Cincinnati could get off to a good start and the defense could start locking in and making plays, this Jet offense has been a total wreck where they can't make completions, they can't get first downs, and they can't do anything besides kick field goals, like I said, is New York. So Cincinnati, if you want to take a shot on them this week with a favorable matchup, even though they're one of the worst defenses in the league, I think they're a sleeper option this week. So that's a few defense DST units I have as sleepers for week 8 of the fantasy football season.